As more people are getting sick from COVID-19 in New York State, Governor Cuomo is now sending out a warning about new restrictions on indoor dining. And in the city, that can mean no more indoor dining by next week. News 4's Ida Siegal is in the Belmont section of the Bronx with how restaurant owners are reacting to this news. Ida.
Adam, on an evening like tonight when it's below 40 degrees, outdoor dining behind me, you can see, is virtually empty. No one's sitting outside for a meal. But as you mentioned, it's looking like very soon this will be the only option. And that's because the CDC has identified indoor dining as a spreader. And the governor says with rising rates, it will more than likely have to come to an end.
They've known it was coming, but to hear the governor put a timeline on the closure of indoor dining was a huge blow to the folks at Enzo's of Arthur Avenue today.
It is heartbreaking, especially that it's prior and during the holiday season. The only thing we can do is hope that it continues to go down.
With the COVID positivity rate continuing to rise, Governor Cuomo issued a stern warning.
We're going to watch the hospitalization rate over the next 5 days. If that hospitalization rate doesn't stabilize, then we'll go from 25 to 0 in New York, 50 to 25 outside of New York City, besides the orange zones, which are already at 0.
Which means Enzo's will rely on outdoor dining in December with just a few heat lamps to raise the temperature a few degrees.
We were allowed to have 55 people inside, so now we're down to 12 people outside. So yeah, it's like 90% down.
Cuomo says the issue is the healthcare system, which is slowly creeping past capacity. He says a Monday shutdown isn't necessarily a sure thing. Not yet.
It doesn't have to be that. You could see New Yorkers change their behavior and be more careful and flatten, and you don't have the increase.
Now, the governor says that's a possibility, but not likely, not with the numbers trending the way they have been. Reporting live from the Belmont section of the Bronx, Ida Siegal, News 4, New York.
Okay, we'll see what happens there. Ida, thank you. That defiant general manager of a Staten Island bar was released without bail after he was arrested for hitting a sheriff's deputy with his car. This weekend, deputies tried to arrest Danny Presti after he allowed people to gather at Mac's Public House when it was supposed to be shut down. And they were with no masks, no social distancing. When they followed him up the block to his car, as you see in the video, they say he ran and drove off, hitting a deputy who rolled onto his hood. And despite this surveillance video that shows the incident, Presti has a different version of what happened.
Sheriff's deputies, unmarked cars, they came in, swept Danny away in 4 minutes. Like he was Osama bin Laden in a CIA Black Ops.
I think when the investigation is complete, you're going to find out that I did nothing wrong.
Max has been defying city and state COVID restrictions for weeks. They've been fined $1,000 a day after being officially shut down. Well, closing indoor dining is not on the table in New Jersey. However, Governor Murphy is reminding that until a vaccine does arrive, people need to stick to social distancing and safety precautions, while health officials are working really hard to convince people the vaccine is safe. News 4's Chris Glorioso has more from West Orange on this critical issue. Chris.
You know, Adam, for months now, we have been reporting from outside drive-up COVID-19 testing sites like this one in West Orange. You can see the lines here, very manageable. But today, Governor Murphy started talking about a day not in the too distant future when we might see lines at COVID vaccination field centers. Meanwhile, I talked to one of the scientists that worked on the Moderna vaccine. She said this is the moment public health leaders have been waiting for.
The CDC and all the state health departments have been preparing for this exact moment for months.
Few people in New Jersey know the Moderna vaccine better than Dr. Shobha Swaminathan. She was the principal investigator conducting the Rutgers Medical School Phase 3 safety trials. Now, one of her jobs is convincing New Jersey residents to get a shot as soon as it's available.
If I get these 2 shots, can I be reasonably sure that I am immune for some period of time to the coronavirus?
Based on the data, there's a 95%, or I should say 94.1% chance that you will be protected from COVID-19 and 100% effective from severe COVID-19.
Public health leaders are now painting a clearer picture of when tri-state residents might get their chance at vaccination. If you are not a medical worker and you are not medically vulnerable, Dr. Fauci said your chance is likely around the spring.
I would think by the time you get to the beginning of April, you'll start getting people who have no high priority, just a normal man and woman New Yorker in the street who's well, has no underlying conditions.
Fauci spoke to Governor CUOMO at his Monday briefing, where the headline was that possible shutdown of indoor dining in New York.
That is not right now on the table for us.
Across the Hudson, Governor Murphy said closing indoor dining is not part of the current plan, but Garden State infection numbers are still in a troubling upward trend. At the end of last week, New Jersey's positivity rate was 11.4%. Vaccine accessibility never more important. Murphy said he expects New Jersey to have between 300 and 500,000 doses of vaccine by the end of December.
My guess is January, you're looking at large, perhaps regional sites for distribution that are up.
Of course, there are still troubling poll numbers that show lots of folks do not yet buy in on the vaccine. That's why they're working very hard on public messaging to get that buy-in. And today, Governor Murphy also raised concern about another lack of public cooperation. He said only 1 out of every 4 New Jersey residents contacted by contact tracers is cooperating. He called that unacceptable. For now, reporting live in West Orange, Chris Glorioso, News 4 New York.